can you just comment and say that you can hear me and see me? I'm going over and just double checking that it's all working so that we can get off to the races with a screw cap discussion. I call it barking up the wrong tree or twist and shout, whatever you like. And yes, I can't resist a good pun. So I think we're good. I think we're good. So again, just if you wouldn't mind hitting comment and saying, I can hear you or I can see you or whatever, that would be really helpful. I'd also like to know who's joined us. Who are the early birds? Where are you from? I know it's Friday at lunchtime, at least my time here in Ottawa, but what's in your glass? And what do you think of screw caps? Screw cap wines, the closure of a screw cap as opposed to a cork. Beth, thank you so much for confirming. At least it's you and I here at the table, my dear. Okay, so we're good to go. So yeah, as I said, we're going to talk about screw cap wines. Let me back up a little bit here. My name is Natalie MacLean, and I review thousands of wines every year at nataliemaclean.com, including screw cap wines, wines with corks. There's also glass closures, if you've ever seen those, and the most horrible plastic corks. I hate those things. We'll get more into those later, but you need a pneumatic drill to get those darn things open, I think, most of the time. Anyway, please, excellent. Malcolm, so glad you're here from St. Kitts. Yay. Malcolm, that's great. I want to hear your comments, Malcolm and Beth, on screw cap wines. So post any questions or comments on experiences you've had with screw cap wines. And anybody who's joined us, please do chime in. Just tell us where you're from and what is in your glass either right now. It's okay, it's lunchtime, Friday, long weekend. Yes, you're allowed. Or what's going to be in your glass tonight if you want to maintain some sort of air of respectability. That's fine. I don't mind. But also hit share. You know that little share button with the little arrow thing right under, I think? Again, I'm not a Facebook expert. This is drawing me into Facebook for the first time. Hit that so that your friends will know and they can join us here. It's like inviting friends to a party, I think. Sort of. Anyway, so I'm going to get into sort of a little bit of the history of screw caps because I think it's kind of interesting. Where did they come from? All that sort of thing. So a lot of people think that screw caps kind of went out of style with lava lamps and beads in the 70s and, you know, when a lot of wines had screw caps. Oh, Helena, thanks. Thanks for logging in. Beth's here too, and Malcolm. Okay, so screw caps were popular back in the 70s, and that's probably why there's a bit of a hangover image of them being a seal for cheap wine. But that is just not the case. The traditional closure, of course, for wine bottles is cork. So cork is made from the bark of trees in Spain or Portugal, mostly. And it was definitely an improvement over the traditional closure of cloth and a rope. But cork has been around since the 1600s, and in the wine world, tradition is really hard to break. You know, we get a bit of a shake-up every 100 years or so, it seems. But screw caps eventually came onto the market in the 70s and 80s because they were, inexpensive. You weren't getting... The problem with cork, of course, is that natural cork bark can contain a chemical compound that can taint wine. So what happens, it depends on the amount of taint, because there is kind of a spectrum. It can range from just dampening the aromas of wine so that it's kind of mute and you kind of think, I'm not getting much from this wine, all the way up to moldy, wet cardboard that you would find in Grammy's attic. And that stuff is not pleasant. And so they estimate maybe 5 to 10% of wines are corked. I know that's decreasing as a percentage in the industry because as technology improves and so on, that's getting better and better, but it still can be a problem. You know, it can happen. And the damage is not just, it wrecks your wine and your experience, but it's really damaging for novice wine drinkers who might think or might not have the confidence and think, maybe I just don't like this wine, or maybe this winery makes a style of wine that I don't like, or even worse, newcomers to wine can say, ugh, I just don't get wine. It just doesn't smell good to me. So that's why cork is so damaging, a corked wine. And let's just be clear, corked wine isn't the, little floaty bits of cork floating in your wine. I've had a server or two that thought that was the case, and they offered to run my wine through a sieve, and I said, no, that's okay. You don't need to do that. So, who else has joined us? I am seeing those numbers climbing really quickly. So I would love to know who's here, where you're from, what's in your glass now, or what'll be in your glass tonight. All right. So we have now. So let me get back to. So that's the sort of the history of cork. That's kind of where it was and the problem with it and so on. So. Now, tradition is hard to change in the wine industry, as I said. Cork's been around. Oh, hello, Sarah. Sarah Manchester and Robert Taylor have joined us. Please, thanks for the thumbs up, guys. Please tell me where you're logging in from. Where are you joining us from, and what wines you're drinking, and have you had a good screw cap wine lately? That's what we're talking about. So, anyway, the thing about screw caps, of course, is that, in a restaurant or even in a dinner party, unscrewing a screw cap versus, the corkscrew and the pageantry of opening a bottle with a cork, this has all the ceremony of kind of like cracking open a beer with your teeth, right? So people don't think, where is the tradition and all that? And yet the flip side is that some very practical people, like Larry Lockshin, who teaches marketing at the University of Adelaide, I think it is, in Australia, said, if you were to create a new beverage today from scratch, would you make people have a special instrument to open it? It's like a barrier to entry. And, so how good is this, right? Oh, Malcolm's on coffee right now. Flat Rock, Rusty Shed tonight. Malcolm, you're in for a treat. That's a great wine, as you know. All right. Thank you, Helena, for hitting share. And I appreciate the thumbs up that are floating across the screen. Thank you. John Lavoie has joined us from Lavoie, right? John, from Osgood, in my glass right now, an energy drink to get me to the night. Boy, you guys are so disciplined. Oh my goodness. By the way, I'm doing this at lunchtime today. I have done one of these at lunchtime before because I'm going away for the weekend. It's the long weekend, yay! And my partner, Miles, and I are driving my son Ryan to Waterloo University, where he's taking electrical engineering. So I am so excited and sad. I'm a bundle of puddle of neuroses and emotions today. We hit the road tomorrow, so we're away all weekend. That's why I'm doing this now. Anybody who misses it can watch the video replay, of course. But I am definitely tasting these wines today because I want to give you the full-on experience, right? So, and you can go out and purchase them this weekend if you find you might be drawn to a few of them. Right, back to our topic. I did tell you I'm easily distractible, even by my own comments and anything you say here. Excuse me. Okay, so we talked about the history of cork. We talked about, the tradition, why slow to consumer acceptance, and yet there's so many benefits to the screw cap. The first is it's easy to get into, and not just for us regular folk, but think about anybody who has arthritis, or anybody who's caught at the cottage or on the boat or by the pool and doesn't have a corkscrew. This is ideal. I just think it makes wine so much more accessible in a good way, not in a dumbed down way, but in a like this is an everyday drink that you should have with dinner or lunch on a long weekend. So that kind of thing. Even bartenders, who are trying to serve a lot and very quickly can open wines quickly, that sort of thing. So anyway, where did this all come from? Who started the whole screw cap movement? Well, it was actually the people who popularized it for higher end wines, at least, were a group of Australian winemakers in, I think it was, the Clare Valley. So it's actually a cool climate of Australia where they make gorgeous Rieslings. And this group of winemakers back in 2000 were getting really frustrated with the fact that their Rieslings that were under cork were experiencing a lot of cork taint. It was dampening the wines and really wrecking their character. So they decided to do a test with screw caps, and it was so successful. I think it was like 90% or closer to 100. Just didn't have any sort of taint or fault. They decided to implement it. But the people who really ran away with this and really went all in are the New Zealanders. So if you notice, when you go to the liquor store, and Malcolm, you can back me up on this, the New Zealand wines, whether they're red or white, inexpensive, premium expensive, they're almost all under screw cap. And that's because it's a small wine producing country that produces amazingly great wines, but they needed to work together as a group for economies of scale when it came to the bottling and the screw cap putting on facilities. So they really took it to a new level, and I think showed the world that even premium wines can be under screw cap, and we're gonna taste some of those today. Malcolm says for sure, nearly 100 out of 100. Well, that's pretty much all of them. John Lavoie, thumbs up to Ryan and upcoming year at Waterloo, yay! Yes, do you have any ties there, John, to Waterloo? Anybody ever go to Waterloo? That's where I'm heading this weekend with my son, engineering. Okay, so they did that. New Zealand got on board, and then of course it started spreading across to other countries. The one I think who really did a lot for popularizing it in California is Randall Graham of Bonnie Doon Winery. This man is a hoot. He's such an intelligent wit, but he also has a vision for what can be done, what can be changed with the wine industry. I met him in person years back when I was writing my first book, I think it was, Red, White, and Drunk All Over. And oh my gosh, the man is, he trades insights and jokes in a good way. But what he did, I'm not sure what year this was, but he held a public funeral for cork in Grand Central Station in the heart of Manhattan, New York City. And pallbearers took a life-size coffin full of cork, and there was a full suit of a man's suit stuffed with cork, and they had a full-on funeral for tire-bouchon, which is a play off the French term for corkscrew, is a tire-bouchon. And so they held a funeral. Various people got up, like Jancis Robinson from the UK and others, to express their love, but it's time to bid you goodbye, Corky Cork. So that was just, I think, hilarious. Anyway, do jump in with any questions. Have you tried any great screw cap wines lately? I would love to know. I'm going to start with this one. I've been holding it up a few times now. Fleur de Cap, a Chardonnay from South Africa. And while I'm doing this, let me see if I can multitask here and put oh yeah, there they are. So I've just put all the links to the wines we're tasting today right in our discussion there, so you'll find them. Gail Harries. Let's see, Gail. Hello from South Florida. You're trying to decide what bottles to open for this holiday weekend. I'm here to help, Gail. You ask me any questions, and do feel free to jump in with any questions, whether they're related to screw cap wines or not, because this is just a conversation at our virtual kitchen table here together. We're not stuffy or scheduled or whatever. Anyway, so I am going to try this Fleur de Cap Chardonnay. Chardonnay generally should have maybe a little bit of a larger wine glass, but I've got one wine glass for many wines here today. Well, I've got a red wine too. So I'm going to give this a shot. Let's see. Oh, I like that. And you know what? This one is only, I think, about 13 or 14 bucks. I will confirm all these details after, along with, I'll be posting my own tasting notes and scores, because I've just sort of posted them on my site. I've tasted a few before, but not all of them. But this just says, come on in and layer yourself with liquid butter. and some baking spice and some peach. Rub it over your arms. I love the sensuality of a nice full-bodied Chardonnay that's balanced. That's spectacular. Wow, especially for the price, right? I'm always looking for wines that taste twice as expensive as they cost, because I am a wine cheapskate, but I do recognize value. So that's beautiful. That should get that. Fleur de Cap Chardonnay 2014. It's 14% alcohol, but it sure doesn't taste like that. Now let's see, what would you pair with this? Roast chicken. What else? We've got fall holiday coming up as well, so I would do like roast turkey, that sort of thing. Anything that's buttery and rich, anything that you put a slather of butter on, Chardonnay is your go-to wine. So let us keep going. That is Fleur de Cap, and I do have a spittoon. Gotta keep it coherent. All right, you know what, I'm surprised, or not surprised, but so screw caps, you would think, are just a New World phenomenon. When I say New World, I mean New World countries like Canada and the US and South Africa and so on. But traditional Old World countries like Italy, this is Ruffino Lumina Pinot Grigio. There's a weekend wine, Gail. Really refreshing. So good. Let's just refresh and make sure I'm not missing any comments here. Oh, there you are. Oh, now you're coming in. Wow, fast and furious. Okay, so here's Ruffino Pinot Grigio. Zippy, refreshing. I've tried this one before. Not this vintage, but it's pretty consistent vintage to vintage. Unlike the Fleur de Cap Chardonnay, which is buttery and rich, this is going to cut like a knife. Your silver knife through the cheese or the cream. This is lime and lemon zest in a sunny spring afternoon. That's really good. And we're talking about screw cap wine, so we're tasting screw cap. If you just joined us, please say hello and where you're from. And we've got, oh, Jen. Hey, Jen has got a thumbs up. Jen, give me some comments here. I know you know your stuff, my dear. So please join the conversation. So the thing with screw caps, though, and I was saying what they did is get away from the problem of cork taint. There have been studies in the past that have looked at, well, are there any problems with screw caps and any sort of faults in wine? And one that emerged was reduction, meaning the wine didn't, cork allows a little bit of oxygen to go in and out. So it's just a tiny bit porous because it's a natural fiber. And so that helps the wine age, but screw caps, at least when they were first launched, are airtight. So reduction in a wine is kind of like when there's no air. Can you imagine a house that's completely locked up, the windows have never been opened, the doors are, it's sealed shut. Reduced, you can imagine what that would smell like. It wouldn't smell fresh. And in fact, it's much worse when it comes to wine. It smells kind of like a swamp, like or rotten prunes or whatever. Someone may have a better description than I do. But there have been innovations in screw caps since then. It's really that plastic little liner that allows the perfect, the 100% seal and no oxygen. So they've been working with that little plastic liner to allow a little bit of egress, oxygen in and out, to reduce the problem of reduction. Anyway, I'm sure someone will correct all of my science. That's not my forte. But here it is, Ruffino Pinot Grigio, great weekend wine. This long weekend looks like it's going to be beautiful. With the sunshine, this is a great deck wine. And Sabina from Edmonton has joined us. Sabina, what's in your glass? John Lavoie is looking in the empty bottle graveyard. Your recycle bin, John? Our last screw caps were McLaren Vale, Darry's Original. That's Darrenberg. That's a terrific Australian wine. Let's see, you've got Aveleda from a Vino Verde, a crisp white from northern Portugal. What else has it got? Oh, PKNT Cabernet Sauvignon. Is that from Chile, John? I think it is. Anyway, let me know any screw cap wines you've tried lately. We are going to keep moving across here, and we're going to go to Chile. Speaking of Chile, we've got Errázuriz. That is a mouthful. Errázuriz Sauvignon Blanc. So we're starting with whites, and I do find, I believe there are more white wines under screw cap than there are red if you look at the entire liquor store. But again, Malcolm, let me know. Oh, look at this. Malcolm has published a really cool comment. You were speaking of the ceremony of opening the cork wine bottle. Here's a link to the screw cap opener. I'll leave it to you to find value. Okay, so, oh my gosh. Oh, so you can open a screw cap with a corkscrew. That just seems really twisted. Sorry, the pun. That just, really, you want to use a corkscrew on a screw cap? Malcolm, thank you for making me aware of that. There are very crazy people with too much time on their hands. LOL, Malcolm says. Okay, so Errázuriz Sauvignon Blanc. So as I was saying, it seems that there are a lot more whites than reds. And I don't know if that is because we expect red wines, again, hangover image here, to be more serious, to have their corks. Of course, all the, fine red Bordeaux, they're almost all still under cork. But that is changing. So I hope it does change across the board, because I do see this as an ideal enclosure, unless I'm missing something, and please someone comment. I guess long-term aging, might that be a problem? But then if they're perfecting this screw cap with some oxygen egress in and out, I can't see it being a problem. Anyway, wines in my house don't age long. They don't stick around long periods. So this is the Errázuriz Sauvignon Blanc from Chile. Oh yes, that is a Friday afternoon wine. Yes, please. That is all fresh limes, chives, fresh cut grass, nettles. Man, that is like salad in a glass, but in a good way. Liquid salad. Very healthy. That is just so good. Oh, I love that. I can't quite remember the price, but these are always really well priced. And in the link, you will see the price. And the links that I provided give you all the wine details. So they give you the price, my score if I've rated it, and I will be rating all of these if I haven't already. The alcohol level, the sugar level, food pairings, tasting notes, and where this wine is in your closest liquor store. So, if you log in, give me an address, it will tell you how many bottles are in your closest liquor store, which is kind of cool. You can get that on the website or in the free mobile app. So who's joined us? Sarah Manchester from BC, and she's got a little wine emoticon, or little wine icon. Sarah, have you ever tried a really great screw cap wine? I would love to know what your experience is with screw cap wines and what you've tried so far. So that Errázuriz is so lovely. I don't want to stop it, but I guess I have to at one glass. Painful. Okay, Gail says, I'm usually a red wine drinker, but you are making me thirsty. Excellent. Gail, I have done my job. My job is to make people thirsty. That's how I measure success. Okay, I'm going to come right back to South Africa for one more white wine. I think this is the last of our whites. Gail, with whites, I get you. I default to reds too. But with whites, they're so refreshing. That's that acidity that goes up and down here. Not acid, like acid as in but acidity that literally just whets your appetite. If you just joined us, we're talking about screw caps versus corks. Please hit share and let your friends know this is going on so they can join us. That little share button, I think down there somewhere. And if you hit follow, the green button follow if you haven't in the past, or like, I believe you will get notified the next time we do a live tasting. I'm doing these weekly. We will get back to Sunday evenings around 6 p.m. Eastern time. But for now, because we're all heading out for a long weekend, we are starting on a Friday at lunch. So this one is Spear Chenin Blanc from South Africa, 2015. Chenin Blanc is one of the great undiscovered white wines and especially from South Africa. It's, how can I don't want to generalize because, you know, wines, oh, Sarah, I've never thought about it. And a sunshine icon. Sarah, you're very good with the icons. Okay. Chenin Blanc. Chenin is unlike anything else. Of course, it, you know, a lot of benchmark Chenin comes from France, but I think South Africa is doing really intriguing Chenin Blanc. So, oh, see, it's got the richness of Chardonnay, but not heavy, not so buttery, more lanolin and beeswax and really interesting stuff. Hopefully these weird adjectives won't turn you off any sort of wine, because it's always a reach and it's always so subjective describing wine. So it's only, again, to make you thirsty, Gail, enough to try it and see if you like it. This Chenin Blanc, you really should try a Chenin sometime, like if you haven't, because I know it's a bit more obscure than your Chardonnay, your Sauvignon Blanc, your Riesling, and so on. So one more sippy sip. Okay. Such a shame to dump these. Okay, now where are we gonna go? We're gonna go to reds. Let's go to Spain. All right. Has anyone ever had a bad experience with a screw cap wine? Has it ever been off, or maybe it was just not a great wine? Well, can you remember your first screw cap wine that you ever tasted? What was it, and did you like it? I would love to hear from you guys. And just post a comment, any comment, or ask any question you like, whether it's about screw caps or anything else. Now I have a red wine glass. Here we go. I'm back. Okay, so this one, look at that. Little gift with purchase. If I could make a necklace. No. Okay, so this is a great producer, and this is Torres. Torres. So, from Spain. And this is Sangre de Toro, the blood of the bull. Don't translate it, that's not very appealing. Sangre de Toro. And it's a Garnacha, otherwise known as Grenache. In France, there's one other way they say it. Grenache, Garnacha, forget. Someone knows. In a different language, they say that grape a third way. But Garnacha is very smooth and supple and rich and full-bodied. And let's just see what this bull can give us. Oh, love that sound. Gail, I'm so glad I found these videos. I'm learning so much. Excellent. And Gail, I get to drink not alone. So you're helping me too. Okay, so here's the Sangre de Toro. See that? Rich, rich color. And you know, a lot of these wines, this one is, I think, $13 to $14. Again, the links are all in this post. You can go and find out the exact prices and so on. But let's give this a sniff. Oh yeah. Now we're getting into fleshy red berries, maybe some red currant, little lick of spice, maybe red licorice. And when I say red licorice, I don't mean that it's a sweet wine, but just that it has that aroma if you sniffed red licorice, right? Because there's a difference between what the wine is giving off as aromas and the actual technical sweetness. They're kind of two different things. Malcolm says Canot. Now, am I pronouncing this correctly? Canot. Grenache in Sardinia. Grenache in Sardinia. Canot. In Sardinia it's called Canot. Very good, Malcolm. It's always good to have a panel of very knowledgeable wine people on board here. It's like I have an editorial board committee that can correct me. I'm just waiting for my grammatical committee to show up. The people who always tell me when I misplace commas. I love that. Okay, here we go. Anyway, that's really good. Spicy, smooth, full body, dark, fleshy berry fruit. So, and $13-14 at the most. Torres, always a good label. That's the winery. This is the label. So Torres is the winery. Screw cap, that's what we're talking about today. Let me get another red. here we go. I'll bet you a lot of you recognize Wolf Blass yellow label. What's kind of cool is that they are going more premium in that they are specifying the subregions. So they've got Langhorne Creek and McLaren Vale. Those are the two areas where the grapes are planted and grown. All we used to see on this label was South Australia or Southeast Australia. But now more and more Australian wines are literally digging into their roots. Again, apologies, I can't resist a pun. But you know what I think about Wolf Blass is he really, the winery and the man, it's a real man, it's like not like Betty Crocker, he's a real guy, made wine accessible to many people by having a simple color coding system. So he had his red label and his yellow label and his gray label, and of course the screw cap. That's the sound of thirst being quenched. So this, I always find Wolf Blass is a terrific value. And sometimes among snobby circles, when a wine gets to a certain size production or has been around a long time, they don't like it anymore. But you and I, we know a good thing when we see it. And this is about 17 bucks. Shiraz, it's all juicy. There it is. Slap you on the back. How you doing? I'll try not to do too many accents. I know I'm absolutely horrible at them. Anyway. Oh, that's nice. Juicy. And I realized we've been on for 30 minutes, so I'm going to motor a bit through I have 3 last wines to show you, and all the links will be there. But do ask questions, whatever you need to do. If you need to go back to work, fine. Party pooper. No. If you need to go back to work, you can go back to work. Here we go. Now, comparing this wine to the Spanish wine, this is dark fleshy, but this is much darker. This is nighttime brooding darker. Look at you, Malcolm. One last link before you head back to work. If you ever stuck with a cork enclosed wine and no corkscrew, here are a few options. Oh yeah, I think I've seen that, but I love that you're posting these videos, Malcolm. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that flat rock tonight. Thank you for joining us, Malcolm. All right, that is just, I love the deep, dark, fleshy, brooding Heathcliff on the moor kind of fruit. Okay. Let's see. South Africa, KWV. Now I'm bringing this one out because this one is 30 bucks. 30 smackaroos. And yet, we have the screw cap. Oh. I just didn't have a good grip. It's not that hard. Okay, so let me dump that. Now this one, oh, there we go. KWV makes a wide range of wines from very modestly priced wines. They've got a cathedral cellar line that I really like for value. This one is called The Mentors, named after the original founders of the winery, who were the mentors to later winemakers. Wow, that's good. Like, you know, countries like South Africa, Greece, Germany, they're all, I feel, underpriced for various reasons. But you can just find some magnificent wines. This Shiraz, 30 bucks. Let's see. That's so good. Now I did taste this one before because it's with, I think, a current vintages release, and I gave it a 92. It's spectacular. Bye, Malcolm. It is so good. It is so balanced. It is so beautiful. Oh, anyway, my tasting notes start to descend into purrs and okay, I do want to show you 2 more wines. We have got a light red from Niagara, Pinot Noir, Flat Rock. Love this winery and all their Pinot Noirs. I don't think I've ever disliked a Pinot Noir or a Riesling, but for that matter, from Flat Rock. And Ed the winemaker is brilliant and funny, and that does influence me. But I do try to make sure I'm always recommending great wines for you. You come first. Flat Rock, 2014 Pinot Noir, Heartbreak Grape. Love Pinot. This is my go-to wine. When I'm left alone in a corner and someone goes, "Can I get you wine?" I'll tell them, "Pinot Noir, please. Come back quickly." Okay. Oh yeah. Oh. Why am I bringing this up? It's gone. Okay. Light, cherry, juicy, mouth-watering. Okay. Let us try. Last one. Gentleman's Collection. Lindemann's Cabernet Sauvignon. This one just hit the liquor store shelves. And I love this. Look at this. This is like a Victorian catalog, you know, when they recommended Uncle Bert's fine elixir for whatever ails you. Remember those? Like, and then the next page would be corsets for women on the go. This also reminds me of the resurgence of all those old-fashioned barbershop barbers, haircutting salons. There's a return to that with the, you know, I'm gonna get myself in trouble, but the, you know, the, what is it? Not lumbersexual, metrosexual, whatever. Those guys who have long beards now and are really funky dressed, and yet love tradition, like those old-fashioned barbershops. So let's just try this. This is Lindemann's Cabernet Sauvignon. I think it's about 20 bucks. I have never tried this one before. Okay, let's just see what this is. Nice and dark, but balanced. Okay, Sarah says Pinot Noir has been my new go-to. I love that. You're in two states of being at the same time. I love going to tastings. It helps you get out of wine ruts. Yes, it does. And a lot of other situations too, Sarah. Okay. Beth Cody, Hipsters. Thank you, cousin. I'll try not to do that again either. Okay, here we go. Oh, that is really elegant. That is so no fruit bomb. That is just balanced, smooth. Feel like we're in the library together. He has a smoking jacket on, I don't. But I see all his volumes of all the classics and their gold gild on the spines. That is a beautiful wine. This is a dinner party wine. You could be proud of this. And look at him. He knows what he's doing. Okay, so I think I'm going to wrap it up now. And let's see, I think there's other people who have joined us, but you can watch the replay if you've joined us late. Please hit share on this below here, the little arrow that does this. Follow if you haven't, the green button follow, and like, because that way, not only do I get more popular, which is really the goal of these, I'm kidding, you'll get notified when we go live again, because it's fun, I think, and join us right at the beginning. Get the heads up right away. Let's see. Oh, look at all these people piling in now. Got so many. Poet Como has done a thumbs up, thank you, and a Kasahud. I'm butchering people's names. I better stop. Okay. I will still answer questions even after we wrap this up right now. So if you keep posting your questions here or any comments, I will be jumping into this post over the weekend, tonight as well, and answering your comments. I am soon, tomorrow morning, off to drive my son to Waterloo. So I really enjoyed this time. I do appreciate you joining me and taking the time, especially on your busy lunch hour. Missing work. And next week we should be back to Sunday evenings around 6 p.m. Eastern time. I think that's a good time regularly, but sometimes I may need to switch this because life interferes, as you know. So I'm looking at here, let's see, I am the backstage producer here and everything. So I will wish you a great long weekend, everybody. I hope something good is in your glass, whether it comes from a screw cap or not. And cheers to you all. Take care.